Welcome to the Manager Matt podcast show. The show is designed to give you solutions to your day-to-day management and leadership problems. It's hosted by Matthew Haddock, a frontline manager and leader with over 25 years of experience. If you're ready, then let's get on with the show.
Hi and welcome to the managermattpodcast show. This show is designed to give you actionable and practical help and advice which will improve your management skills and get the results you can at work. Now make sure, if you haven't already, to take the time to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so you'll never miss an episode. And also, if you can do me a favour and share it with anyone else you think might enjoy the show, that would be greatly appreciated. Okay, without any more delay, let's get on with this week's show. Burnout. Now, I've heard this before in many guises, the word burnout at work. Let's be honest with us. As managers and leaders, the pressure is going to be high sometimes. There's going to be times where you're working long hours and you're putting in a lot of effort, above and beyond what you would consider your norm. Now, that's another subject. What is the norm of a manager? Who knows? Because management, although it does have job descriptions, never, in my experience, works to a job description. But burnout, in my mind, is how do people get so stressed that they get to the point of breaking? That's right. You've got leaders, probably above you and below you, who are getting to a point where they are so stressed that physically and mentally they're at a point of shutting down. It's actually been a recognised condition since 2019, burnout. Burnout in a pressure situation, and it's something that humans have probably never had in the whole of the species. This idea of burnout and pressure and stress, not from being chased by a lion or being murdered by someone in your sleep in some sort of camp that you used to live in, or even if you go back to the Victorian days, if you're walking down the street, you would probably end up being batted over the head by someone and robbed. These things and those doesn't really happen. Of course you hear it, and of course there is some sad tales of people being assaulted still in our modern world, but the fear in humans is still there. Our primitive reptile brain is still telling us how scary it is at work, And when you think about it, is it really scary at work? You know, what would possibly be the worst result you could have in your life if you lost your job? Of course, you could say, well, I'd lose my house. I wouldn't be able to pay the rent. The kids wouldn't have any food. They'd throw me out on the street. And obviously, this is a global podcast that goes to the world. I'm not talking about everyone. There will be places where that could happen. But let's face it, in most westernised societies, most modern societies, you have a system behind you. The government won't let you starve on the streets. You may have to change some things. You definitely would have to change some things if you lost your work tomorrow and didn't have your pay coming in. But would it really be the end of the world? Would it be the point of being eaten by a lion or clubbed over the head in the street? No, of course it wouldn't. The problem is that pressure is built up by ourselves, by our business, by our expectations. Usually the expectations of others. You go to work and your expectation is built up that my partner expects me to do this. My mother, father expects me to do this. That pressure's all been put on you by others, probably not yourself. I'd be worried if I lost my role. I'd be worried if I lost my job. And you get to a point where you've taken so much on, and the only thing you're thinking about is how can I get better? How can I improve? How can I do it? When do you breathe? When do you stop? When do you go, let's just have a second here? Is it the end of the world if this project don't get completed on time? Is it the end of the world if PowerPoint don't quite work? No, of course it's not. And you always use those analogies, especially in the UK, or other places in the world where they go, well, it's not rocket science. Or, we're not going to kill anyone. Majority of times, if you're in business, it's not rocket science, and you're probably not going to kill anyone with the job that you do or don't do on time. And that burnout pressure, we've all felt it. That point where you can't find the file or it's got deleted and you actually feel it, your heart going faster, your shortness of breath. And when you really step away, you think, is this really that important? Will it matter in 5 hours if I don't get this in on time? Maybe. Will it really matter in 5 days? Will people remember the fact I didn't get that report on time? Maybe, maybe not. Would it matter in 5 years? No. When you start thinking that way around, you can't making decisions that are different. You start helping yourself by asking for support. When you get into the point where you're completely burnt out or starting to feel that burnout, you can ask for support. Because, let's face it, the majority of places I've worked and the people I've dealt with will give you a hand if you ask. And burnout is one of those serious things that can affect people's mental health to the point where they can't even get out of the bed in the morning, all driven by the fact that we think it is important to do what we're important to do. So anyway, let's think about it. As a management community, listen to this podcast. What can we do differently to reduce the fact that burnout is out there? What can we do to pull people back and help them? Let's have some actionable steps, if you like. First is spot when your team are struggling. And this is about those one-to-ones. When you're having one-to-ones with people, talk to them around their workload. Talk to them around what you can do to help them. And some of that is finding new ways of doing it. Sometimes it's taking some work off them. Sometimes it's taking work yourself. I'd say very rarely. Be careful, because burnout can get you too. But it's also making sure that that person's working as smart as they can with what they've got. Can they prioritise correctly? Can they put them stuff in the urgent and important? Because everyone wants to talk about important. And everyone wants to talk about getting things done as quick as they can. But what is really important and what is just urgent? Let's do that first. And then when you've got that relationship and you've got your team around that person, give them the confidence that they can say no. Give them the confidence to walk away from a project in the right way, talking to the person and saying, I can't deliver. We're so good at saying yes. We're so good at going, of course we can, of course we can. Give me that work. I want to be the pleaser. I want to be a people pleaser. No one wants to be seen as the bit of a Burke who can't do a job on time, but you don't want to be the one who's always taking it on. Because you know what? The guy and girl next to you will be quite happy for you to do their work as well, because they'll be off 9 o'clock in, 5 o'clock out, boom. And you're still sat there at 7 trying to get that report to work and the link to the macro that didn't work before still not working, and you realise it wasn't even your work to start with. So let's think about that when we do it. And also, when you see the signs, when you see a person who's done the hours, has put in the 50, 60-hour weeks, as a manager, have the confidence to walk to that person and go, turn your laptop off, go home. Turn your phone off, go home. I don't expect to see you until Monday. I want you to go and have some rest. I need you to get away from there. Have the confidence as a manager and leader to be a person who can lead that person forward. Because when it comes back to it, if you keep burning out these people, when you run out of people and you've got the stress yourself, what are you going to be? You're going to be nowhere. You're not delivering the results you're expected to be. You're not going to be the leader that you have to be. You're just going to be that person who just puts more and more pressure on them. We're all humans. We all have the fear. We all have the reptile brain that says this is the end of the world. This is the end of the world. You have to be the calming voice that says it's not the end of the world. It's just a report. It's just a piece of work. It's just something that isn't going to arrive at 9 o'clock today. It might arrive 9 o'clock tomorrow. Put it in perspective. We're all there to deliver results. Every time I talk on this podcast about delivering results, but it's not at the detriment of anything else around safety and people's mental safety. Well, that's my thoughts on the subject of burnout. Thanks for listening. And as always, I'm really keen to hear your thoughts, not just on this subject, but any subject, because feedback is a gift. And it's a gift. Please keep giving. If you want to send it to the managermattpodcast at gmail.com. I answer all the questions and emails myself and would love to engage on new and old topics. Well, right, that's it for Manager Matt this week. Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to this Manager Matt podcast. We hope you found it interesting, helpful and actionable. One last thing, please leave a quick review on iTunes or with your podcast provider, as it helps to spread the word of Manager Matt. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you did like anything in particular, send an email to managermattpodcast@gmail.com or visit managermatt.co.uk for more content. Feedback is a gift, so let's keep giving. See you next week.